What's good, everybody? This is Ace here, as always, with my partner Mark, and we are about that sports life. So you know what we came to do. We're gonna be talking sports. Um, a lot, it's been a minute, so a lot's been going on, but we're gonna pick it right up with today. Today was the NBA trade deadline. So Mark, I know today is a big day for you as a Sixers fan, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and forget all the formalities and go ahead and take it away.
The Australian is gone. It's a beautiful day. Don't have to worry about 2-5 no more. I'm still not saying his name. He's
Huh?
gone. They still got the great thing is that Morey said he wasn't going to trade him without getting a superstar, right? And that's exactly what he did. He held out. It was some other deals that you know I was interested in. Like I believe I was if Darren Fox was available, I wanted us to go after. Think we should have moved it for him. At the time, it was Malcolm Brogdon. Then there was other stuff with the Raptors. You had a few of them being brought up, spoke about. So, but I will say, Morey was right. Morey said, "I'm not moving him for nothing else but a star," and that's what he went and got. And now Embiid and Harden is something that I don't think Embiid and Harden is something I don't think people are ready for. That's a true tandem right there. That's something serious from both ends.
No, for sure, for sure. That's like all star team type things. Like to imagine a team like you got super teams and stuff, but those two skill sets on the floor together is not something that you normally see.
Mm-mm.
Um, normally you got guys that kind of complement each other in ways, but it's like the Harden and Embiid is almost like a compliment, but also a skill overlap in the best possible way. Like you got guys that can operate, all over the court. And if you want to talk about floor spacing and it's the spacing possibilities between them two is crazy. It's crazy because they both
Just think
score
about the
at
pick and roll. Like you
exactly.
know, you've seen Embiid. He's playing with somebody that he's been able to be successful at pick and rolls with JJ Redick for a few years early on. Then him and Seth started to get it down pat. Yes, Harden's not the knockdown shooter that those two are, but his offensive skill set is so dynamic that he can do anything off the pick and roll. He can get to the
Hmm.
basket. He can pull up and hit a jumper. He can step back and hit a jumper. Like I think that's going to elevate Embiid even more because also Redick and Seth Curry were not passers. Now you can get in the pick and roll, and B may
Yeah.
start it, and then Harden's rolling, and he could throw the oop to Embiid, and it's a wrap. Or he can hit a bounce pass behind his back or something to Embiid, and it's a wrap. Like you can see, it's so many different opportunities for those two players, and then to get it. I meant to say this in the beginning. For them to get this deal done now without Maxi and Thibault in it is the win.
Yeah, that was
Because
big.
a
That was
year
big.
ago, a year ago, we were fine. Everyone was okay with, okay, we'll give him Ben, we'll give him Maxi, we'll give him Thibault to Houston for Harden. Everybody was cool with that. There was no real fighting against that, right? Now we fast forward a year. Maxi's now a borderline all-star. I mean, not, I'm being a little extra, you know what I mean? But he's made that type of leap,
He's a
that
starter
second.
caliber player.
Yeah,
He's a starter
he's
caliber
made
player.
that leap where Houston is probably sick at themselves for not having him. And now we were able to still get Harden, the player they didn't want to send us. You still get him. You waited a year, but you still get him, and you don't give up two big assets like Maxi and Matisse. Who knows? Down the line, they could be used to get somebody else. I'm not saying I want to trade either player, but I'm just saying you still
Yeah,
have them. It leaves
they're
that
viable
possibility.
pieces. Yeah, they're viable pieces. In the trade, as far as what you guys sent to Brooklyn, you pretty comfortable with what you guys gave up, I'm assuming.
I'm comfortable with it because of who you got back, but I will say this: we will miss Drummond. Drummond was a very, very good
Yeah.
backup center. We miss Andre Drummond. It's not easy to just get a guy like that in the buyout market later on. They didn't trade for anyone else today. Millsap is 37 years old, so we're not going to act like he's just going to step in and fill that role. He's also not a 6'10", 7-foot guy like Drummond. So that's the only part of it where I'm like, we might feel that a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of
Seth,
thought y'all would be looking at to buy out Millsap. I can't really see where he would fit.
I mean, we don't have a backup. We don't have a backup big at all, really. I mean, we got Paul Reed. They'll probably call him up. They got Bassey, the rookie. But other than that, you kind of, but Millsap could help them off the bench. You know what I mean? Like off the bench right now, it's Danny Green or Matisse, whoever's not starting at small forward at the time. Korkmaz, Shake Milton, Georges Niang. Like they don't really have a big body. So that's probably what Millsap could fill that role. But I'm hoping that there's someone that gets bought out that they could go after.
Yeah, I think that there'll be some options out there. Like a guy that's already been bought out. I mean, now he's not the best defensive guy, but and it's Cancer Freedom.
Mr.
Formerly in Celtics, we traded him to the Rockets, but he did get bought out already. So like
that might be a possibility. He's not a Drummond.
Yeah, obviously not. But he's a good rebounder. He can score a little bit, and he's available. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So
exactly. That may work.
And I think there'll be some other guys too.
Yeah, that's the only thing about this trade that I think we have to make sure we still answer that hole that you created. Other than that, Seth, we all like you as a player. We all think you've shown that you've grown as a player since he came in the league and all that. But you're getting James Harden, so you're not worried.
No,
about
at the end of the day, that's definitely acceptable. See, all right. So looking at it, like I want to kind of look at it from the Nets' point of view, and I can see why a lot of people are saying that the Nets won this trade. Whereas to me, it's kind of obvious, like it's face value where the Sixers won. Obviously, you had an all-star caliber player that wasn't playing. You trade him and get a MVP type player.
Yeah.
So, that's obvious. Now, the Brooklyn side of it, the Nets side is a little bit more subtle. Whereas you had a guy who was in the last year of his deal, and you would have potentially had to re-up. Now you got a guy that you can control for 4 years. And if we of course we get Ben back, even Ben as he was is an all-star player. And I think he would complement the skill sets of a KD and a Kyrie very well. You don't necessarily as much need Ben Simmons, the shooter, when you have those two guys around.
Yeah, I feel like this trade helped. All right, I'm gonna be an adult. This trade helped Ben Simmons a lot because of where he's going. Yeah. Like if the rules get changed in New York and like they lift the mandate and Kyrie's allowed to play every game, Kyrie and KD masked his deficiencies. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You could sag off of him as much as you want on that team and it not hurt them as much because both of them can score in a mirage of ways. They can shoot, and KD's 7 foot, so he can shoot over a crunched up half court set. So I do that is the one thing I will say. I think as much as a baby he acted and did all this crap, he won out in the end. Like he's going into a very good situation for him. He stays on the East Coast, even though I think he did want to go to the West Coast, but he stays over here. He doesn't have to move too far. You know what I mean? Like he's right up the highway to Brooklyn. He should be able to come back relatively soon because we know there's no real mental health issues. But I do think that, yes, him playing alongside of Durant and Kyrie is a win for him and for them as long as Kyrie can play every game. If Kyrie can't play every game come playoffs, that's where I say I don't think it's a win for them because in playoffs now, they're down to one guy in games when Kyrie can't play. Durant is the only thing offensively in a half-court set.
Yeah, but no, and then I was also going to mention, I mean, the other pieces that they did get are good gets.
Drummond,
Seth Curry, having Seth Curry and Patty Mills on the same team is, if you can find lineups where you can play them both on the floor at the same time, talk about floor space, and it'll get a little crazy. Especially if you have a Ben Simmons on the floor, which you can do because of his size. You can have Ben Simmons, Patty Mills, Seth Curry. You can have lineups like that. So it's like I think
Mhm.
that those pieces kind of replenished the Nets because they to me their roster was very depleted with names escaping me right now. Joe Harris being out pretty much
Mhm.
indefinitely right now.
Mhm.
Um, not getting a lot from Blake, not getting a lot from some of the other guys. To me, that roster was just very depleted, especially
I
with the
think
situation with Kyrie.
Drummond really helps them because the
Yeah,
only big
absolutely.
they had was Aldridge, and Aldridge has actually been playing a lot better than I expected him to. I will give him that, but adding Drummond, I gained a lot more respect for Drummond since he was on the Sixers. I did not know Drummond is not an offensive black hole. Like he could do some things
Yeah,
offensively. He's a very good passer for a big man. Dang, Luka was a reserve this year. I forgot that.
yeah.
But
The,
yeah,
the issue with Drummond was always um, he basically was a throwback type of big, or the game kind of passed him by. So he was supposed to be like a centerpiece type of player for the Pistons. But
mm-hmm,
the problem is he was a
the
centerpiece
game
player
changed.
in a league where Joel Embiid
Mm-hmm,
came into the league. You can't be a
mm-hmm.
centerpiece big if you got to go up against Embiid. Embiid is just completely different type of a big man. He's Olajuwon with his range extended to the 3-point line, which is nuts. So it's like then you got Embiid, you got Joker, it just got a little the game passed him by, and I think that's
Yeah,
where
that's what I think. I think the game, his style of play, kind of like a Jaleel Okafor. Like I think Drummond got
exactly.
more out of his game because he was able to accept it faster than Okafor and say, "Hey, I'm gonna just be a rebounder. I'm gonna be an energy defensive guy. I'm gonna make sure I stay in the NBA and stay active member." Whereas Okafor wanted to continue to think he could be a focal point and score points, but that's conversation for another day. But the game switched on him. He's not a shooter for as a big man. He's not the quickest guy. He's not going to run the court, not catching oops. He was a big man for the times where you dumped it down to your power 40 or center 20 times a game and you let him go to work,
Exactly.
right? But coming off the bench in a second unit, he's able to give you those rebounding numbers that not many backup centers could give you. He can protect the rim to a certain extent. He's like I said, he's a pretty good passer for a big man. Like so, I think Brooklyn had been missing that for like. Remember, we all talked about them needing a big when Kyrie, Durant, and Harden all got together. That was always
Yeah.
a hey, there's no real big on that team at all. They got that now. Like Drummond is that type of player, and I would not be surprised if come playoff time, he's starting and Aldridge comes off the bench.
Yeah, I could see that. And like I said, that's what this trade to me did. It just gave him a whole different realm of versatility and something that they can
Made
kind
him
of,
deeper.
yeah, and they can bank on this. Um, Simmons isn't going anywhere. I mean, as long as, we get the Simmons that were seeing before, he's not going anywhere. I don't know how long Drummond and Curry is signed for, but those are guys you can re-sign. Those are guys you can continue to keep together if this works. So, like I said, in a sneaky way, I think the Nets did kind of get a. I mean, I think both teams got what they needed out of this trade
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the
Time
day.
out. Durant is like we say this every year, but Durant's really a bad drafter, man. Like this is
Yes,
really bad. I'm watching this. Like he could let
yes,
LeBron get. He got Giannis and Seth. Like what? I understand Embiid's all world, but in the All Star game, you don't pick Embiid before Steph Curry.
yeah,
Steph is
absolutely. Durant should have
Steph is
definitely
number
took
one after he
Steph
took
first.
Giannis. But whatever. Back to the importance. Like,
So
but he does
just
this every year.
yeah. So and so looking at other trades around the league, I want to talk a little bit about the 14 trade that
Okay,
that
that
kind
was
of
the
kicked
first one.
off everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right, so Marvin Bagley is the guy I want to talk to. Marvin Bagley went from the Kings to the Pistons. Now, I can honestly say, and I'm gonna admit this, I really don't know that I've watched 2 minutes of Marvin Bagley play in the NBA. So I know that he hasn't panned out. I know he hasn't panned out, but I don't really
Uh-huh.
know why. So
Why?
like,
I think the why is kind of what we talked about too. His game doesn't fit. You know, like he could score inside, yeah, but there's no real jump shot there. He's an okay defensive player, but not a true dominant guy for that size. And he's now, we talked about it, so I think he has to get the label as a bust now. Like he has to fully be labeled a bust. Like when you're the number 2 pick and you're traded this early, right, in your career, you're labeled as a bust. No one's picking. What's going on with this? With the no
Now, all
hard.
right. So here's the thing. One thing a rule of thumb for me is I never judge players that come from Sacramento until they're out of Sacramento. Because you never really know if they're really bad players or if it's Sacramento to me.
True.
In his case, it's a little different to me for him because he's going from Sacramento to Detroit, which is another place I don't judge players from because then so it's almost like he didn't really get
It's like
moved.
Sacramento, Detroit, Orlando is like, what are we doing here?
Minnesota, like those teams, you just can't really judge players that come from there because you never know. But do you think there is any real upside of Cade Cunningham, Jeremy Grant, Marvin Bagley? You got 3 still young guys.
No, because I think Isaiah Stewart is going to get more of the burn than Bagley. We'll see about Bagley if I'm wrong. I just don't believe in his game. I think Stewart shows more. He's grittier. He's a defender. I think he got more. He's already had that role there. I don't think you just displace him for Marvin Bagley.
That's true. That's true. I mean, it's good. Marvin Bagley's going to have an uphill battle to really try to establish himself as a player there. So,
then,
anybody else interested in that move in that trade?
No, I think Bagley talking about him and his. Well, there's another bust that was in that trade, Josh Jackson. He's a big time bust in my opinion. He's big.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Bagley's the second pick, but Josh Jackson, if we remember during that draft time, people were talking about him like he's gonna be Kawhi. You know what I mean? Like that was the talk at the time.
And he had a lot of potential. You know, he's a Jayhawk, so I know he had a lot of potential.
Exactly, I forgot all about that. Yes, but I'm gonna be honest. It was a time where before we traded up, we were at the 3 pick. Y'all had the 1 pick. And where I remember me, my dad, we both know more. We all contemplated, okay, who do we rather have at 3, Josh Jackson or Jason Tatum? Everybody ended up landing on Jason Tatum because Tatum, you just saw more offensively. Like, okay, it's easier for his game to translate. But there was definitely a time where that was a flip flop. You know what I mean? Where no one was guaranteed for sure who you would take, Tatum or Jackson, and it played out that you definitely Tatum should have been the number 1 pick in that draft, but whatever. I'm just saying, it's just amazing to see Josh Jackson has not turned into much of anything. Stanley Johnson's another one just like that. We see him on the Lakers now as like a filler, and it's just amazing. We had a few guys in this one deal that all fall under that.
Exactly.
Trey Lyles is another
same
one.
kind. Trey Lyles. It was kind of like.
Go ahead. Now I'll go pivot the trade that I like that was on a low key move that doesn't get talked and did not get much talk, but I think it's going to help this team going forward is y'all getting Derek White from the Spurs for Josh Richardson. Derek White can play. Like Derek White is not just a pushover player as a point guard, shooting guard. He can kind of do both. He can be you either use him as one of like a point small forward type. That's what y'all been missing, in my opinion. The Celtics do not have a lead guard anywhere on that roster. Now, I'm not saying Derek White could be that from day one, but I do think he helps. He will help in the half-court set because Tatum and Brown need someone to set the table. Neither one of them have that in their game. They're both scorers. We've seen their assist numbers go up because they have to, but we have not seen the effectiveness of the offense change like it can with a true ball handler. And I think Derek White can fill that role for them. Richardson was an okay sign, and he played a little better for y'all than he did the last 2 places he's been, Dallas and Philly. But he's 28, 29. This is the point. There's nothing else coming from Josh Richardson. We know what he is. Derek White, there's a chance where you can look 3-4 years from now and say, hey, we got our starting point guard for Josh Richardson.
Yeah, no, I was going to bring that up as well. I'm happy with I think we gave up a little bit more than I would have liked to. But I honestly have, he's another guy. I haven't watched a lot of Derek White, so I don't want to really speak on him as far as his skill level. I've heard that he's a good player. I've seen him a couple times. He's had some good games, but I haven't really paid much attention. You don't really get to pay a lot of attention to Spurs players
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I've heard good things. Like you said before, he feels a need. Now, I'm gonna shoot Marcus Smart some bail. You said we don't have a lead guard. I feel like to this point, Marcus Smart has not been allowed to be a lead guard until maybe from basically the last month. He's been kind of given the reins, allowed to be a point guard, and I've seen what things that I like, and I think that's a big reason why we didn't see him get moved. I think prior to this last month, Marcus Smart would have been the number one player that would have been traded from our team. I think that him for John Collins was the writing was on the wall. But I think that because of this,
both teams kind of backed off on that one.
Yeah, and I think because of this last month, both sides have decided we're going to continue what we got, and I think that's why you didn't see any of our, core players get moved, because I think this last month is kind of giving them a different look. We want to see what this really looks like. But enter Derek White, where I think that one, if Marcus Smart does regress, you have something else there. Derek White is going to be there as an option, and I think that more importantly, Derek White as a sixth man is going to be lights out for us. I think that Schroeder was cool as far as a scorer, but I think Derek White being able to facilitate a little bit can help some of our other bench guys a lot. And I think that's what was missing. That's because to me, a lot of the talk was, Tatum and Brown don't fit. But to me, it's never been Tatum and Brown. I watched the games. Those guys are fine. It's just there's nothing else beyond that. And I think that's because a lot of the other pieces are not guys that can go get a bucket on their own. They need help. So I think that
I don't subscribe to that they don't fit either. I do subscribe to you may need to trade one to get what the team needs to move forward, which is a true point guard, or like you said, a true or John Collins type. You don't got to give up one of them to get John Collins, but you know what I mean. Like if Demontis Sabonis was somebody, I kind of was like, Boston might want to look. Yeah, Boston might want to look into that. Now, seeing what he got traded for, wouldn't have got him without giving up probably Brown. You know what I mean? Because he got traded for Halliburton, Buddy Hill. Like it was a lot. It was a pretty good offer in there. So I didn't think his stock was that high. But my point is that I think if they do add a guard, if Derek White grows into a lead guard, I think there's no issues with the Tatum and Brown. Yes, because you need a table setter. That's what they have not had since Kyrie, and it was only a little bit with Kyrie at that. Really since Isaiah Thomas, if we're being real, because that's the last time y'all went to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Who was the guard? No,
Isaiah
been
Thomas?
with Tatum.
No. When Kyrie was out.
Yeah, Kyrie was out though. Rozier, that's exactly what it was. Terry Rozier. Yep. But Terry Rozier accepted that role. He was not trying to be a scorer like he is with Charlotte. You know what I mean? Like he played his role. And Jaylen Brown not taking a leap yet either at that point. But that's why I think y'all need to. I like the Derek White signing, and we'll see how it continues to help. We'll see how it helps the Celtics go down the stretch and into the playoffs. And I'm pretty sure he probably has another year or two on his deal.
Yeah, he has a couple years, so we're good. We got him for a while. I think even more importantly was, things like moving Schroeder and a couple other guys to get under the cap. Because I think the biggest thing is being honest, obviously, it's a 90-some-odd% chance we don't win the championship this year. It's a 70-80% chance that we don't make the Eastern Conference Finals this year. You know what I'm saying? So we're not looking at that. We're really looking at, competing as much as we can, but I think with an eye towards, next season and beyond what we're going to be
Absolutely.
doing. So I think getting under the cap this year was important because you don't want a hard cap. You don't want to start a repeater tax because as soon as you go under the cap, that repeater counter starts over.
Yep.
So, going forward after this offseason, I think that there will be some moves made. A lot of talk about, going at Bradley Beal, whether that's at the expense of Jaylen Brown or not. I don't really know what the future holds, but I think that there will be some moves that I think that going forward, we're expecting to be, over a tax-paying team. So I feel like getting under the tax was a good move by Brad, to kind of extend that window a little bit further before it starts getting crazy. So those are the things that made me happy. I feel like we did good work. We brought in a good young player. We got rid of some
Now,
contracts.
real quick, because I this is my fault for not knowing this. Where did Schroeder go?
Oh yeah, so we traded Schroeder, Ennis Cantor, Freedom, and Bruno Fernando to the Rockets for Daniel Tice. So we, yeah,
Y'all love Daniel Tice. How many times you gonna be
yeah.
upset?
I love Daniel. No, I love Daniel Tice. No, and I'll tell you
Just
why.
stay in Boston.
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is underrated. Some players have one thing that is like elite skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Tice is an elite screen setter, bro. I've never seen anybody set. No, I'm so serious.
I
I've
know
never
you
seen
are. I know you are.
anybody set better screens for Jason Tatum in my life. Like having him back, I got happy instantly. I'm like, yes, Tatum gonna get some of them screens again.
Schroeder went to the Rockets, right?
Yeah.
We need to keep an eye on him. He gonna get bought out.
Yeah.
He would be nice to come off our bench. Wow.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a
Uh,
lot of guys, and some
yeah.
unexpected guys getting bought out.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't. That's why. That's why I asked. That move. I missed that one today. Within I'm sorry. Once we got Harden, I've been on his thousand ever since.
I can understand it. I can understand it.
But another deal we could go with too that I kind of talked a little bit about it before. Wizards sending Dinwiddie. Who was the other person? Shoot.
Was there anybody? I thought it was a pick. I thought it was just Dinwiddie
Yeah,
and
I
a
think
pick.
it's because Montez Harrell went somewhere else. But so
Yeah.
the Wizards send
Charlotte.
Dinwiddie in a pick to Dallas for Kristaps Porzingis, and I'm gonna say I just don't understand because I don't understand. I don't understand at all for Washington. Porzingis is not the type of player that's gonna help Bradley Beal win anything. So
Bradley Bill's not
all
coming back
y'all,
anyway. So
I'm not just talking about this year because we know Kristaps Porzingis has a massive contract that is still attached to him. So
yeah.
you traded for a guy that one does not move the needle enough to help your number one guy. You brought on him. He makes almost max money. He's a little under, but he makes big time money. He's always injured. So, and you're looking at now a core of guys that are all kind of stuck money wise of Bill, Kuzma, KCP's on that team, and Porzingis. And it's like, what is that? What are you doing? Like what
I
that's
think that
that's mixed mass
yeah.
going on with the Wizards.
Yeah. To
Now
me,
for Dallas,
yeah.
Dinwiddie score off the bench, cool, I guess. Where really with Dallas is if they lose Brunson this offseason, that's where Dinwiddie comes in as a replacement. So it's kind of understandable from their end. Doesn't make them that much better, in my opinion. But the Wizards in Portland, I'm so confused with what I don't have no clue what the direction is from those franchises.
But what I would say about the Wizards is this. Not that all right, let me preface it by saying this. I don't agree with what they're doing. I don't think it's smart, but I'll tell you what I think that they're trying to do. One, they had to trade Dinwiddie. The reason why they had to trade Dinwiddie, I've read like several articles about this, just because I thought it was funny and I wanted to like verify it. Basically, Dinwiddie came in as a signing in this offseason, and he tried to like come into the team and change the culture, be a locker room leader, like try to really speak up and talk to the young guys. And nobody liked it. Everybody rejected him. It was just not a good environment in the locker room. Nobody liked it, basically. So they were already going to be getting rid of Dinwiddie. So to me, I think that with Washington kind of is selling this as a win because you already had to get rid of Dinwiddie and you were able to at least bring back. Now they're going to sell it as bring back a star, but you bring back a name. You bring back a
A
name. Just that
name, yeah.
Porzingis is a name. He's a name. He's a guy
You
that
name.
you can say we got Porzingis. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what Washington is selling, and I think that at this point they're just trying to do things to sell it to Beal. Like, look, we got
Yeah,
Porzingis. Like, but
yeah,
it's like, but if anybody with a brain can see that, who cares? Like, who really
yeah. That's
cares
what I'm
what?
hoping. I'm hoping that Bill is not like sitting there like, oh yeah, man, they're really trying for me. I think that we're gonna be able to make a move, bro. I've been saying this for 2 years now. Get out of Washington. They're never
Bro, don't
going
worry
to
about it.
trade you
We're gonna
unless
take care of that.
you force your way out. I hear you.
Brad
Unless
gonna
you
handle that, man.
force your way out, Bill, you're going to be stuck. Please do not continue this loyalty over everything thing. You and Damian Lillard need therapy. Y'all are tripping. Get out of these situations. We got Portland, who I know the deal didn't happen today, but we still going to talk about it. We got Portland trading CJ McCollum for Josh Hart and picks. We got they get rid of what's my man? They got Norman Powell last year. They now have traded Norman Powell away for Eric Bledsoe and a second round pick. They trade
A washing
Covington.
machine. I believe they did get a washing machine in the deal. I
Like
believe they did get a new washing machine and a fax machine. I'm sorry, a fax machine and a washing
Portland is
machine in
just
that deal.
Portland's giving away everything. So now they got just Dame at this point. Anthony Simons is still there, and then Nurkic is still there. So the Wizards and Trailblazers really confuse me because it's just like they're just making moves to make them at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
why
that's
did they?
something to
I understand,
sell, something to sell, something to say. Look what we did. Like,
but why Norman Powell? Like, I understand. Some people say, "Oh, because it's opening the door for Anthony Simons." He was already scoring. If you traded McCollum, if you had the plans to trade McCollum,
yeah, all you had to do
why
was trade
did you
McCollum.
trade Powell before then?
All you had to do is trade McCollum, and it opens it up for
You could
enough for
already
anybody.
trade McCollum. Simons, everything is open right there. You know, like that. That's
But just
everything he needed.
you're trading your secondary scorer. Somebody would have to step into that role.
And that would
Trading
have been
Norman
him
Powell is just trading a good player
to
that is
trade.
helping you out.
Yeah, that's
Like,
just a trade to trade. And then let's backtrack a little more. They give up to get Norman Powell
yeah,
last year.
yeah, you gotta
Gary
factor that
Trent.
in.
You gave
Yeah,
up Gary Trent, who played pretty damn well for Toronto and has ever since he's gotten there. You know what I mean? Like, so you gave away Trent to get Powell. You then gave away Powell and really get back nothing. And you're selling your fans that, oh, you traded Powell because you want Anthony Simons to step into a bigger role. Cool. But then why turn around and trade McCollum then? There's no, I don't see a plan. I don't see, it's tongue in cheek when the Sixers fans say this. I don't see a real process of anything the Blazers are trying to
yeah,
build, right? Like you got Dame saying here, oh, saying I'm here, I'm going down with the ship, or not. He didn't, not those exact words, but you know what I mean. Like he's so committed to this team, and this team is not showing the ability to do anything to truly help him. Because I hope they don't
yeah.
think somebody's going to go sign in Portland this summer.
That's
That's
but
not
that's
happening.
my thing is I feel like okay, I can see if I squint hard enough, I could see a strategy where they kind of made trades that where they would be able to create cap space, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But what are y'all gonna do with this mythical cap space? Because if you're gonna make a trade, you got to match salaries,
Mm-hmm.
right? So with cap space doesn't help you there, right? If you got cap space, that means you got to sign free agents,
Sign
and if
somebody,
you
yeah.
have a lot of cap space, that means you're looking at big free agents.
Mm-hmm.
What big free agent is gonna have Portland on their list? Based on
No
what?
one, no one, no one's
Based on
running
what?
to Portland. No one's running to. No
It's
one
not
has
Miami.
ever,
It's not LA. It's not Houston. It's not one of those cities where people do,
bro.
sign in the off season. It's not one of those places.
It's not. I've never. Like, I tried to
Now, New
think
York,
about this the other day.
even where you got a
I,
chance to try to attract some. What about Portland is going to attract them?
yeah,
Dame does not strike me. Nothing about Dame strikes me as a salesman. I've never
he's
seen
not
him,
going to recruit nobody. Yeah, no.
yeah, recruiter, salesman. I've never seen him do anything
Mm-mm.
like that. So
And
I don't really.
we already know that he's not really about the building a super team type thing, because if he was, he'd be a Laker right now. Because we all know AD and LeBron tried their hardest to get him to do that this offseason to force his way to LA. He didn't do that. So I don't see him going to anybody that's going to be available this offseason and like begging them to come play with him. He's not going to do that. And I'm sorry, if he's not doing that, no one's coming there. I don't think no one's coming there, even if he did that. So what is the plan? I know they could probably say, hey, now we could take on a trade of from a team who's trying to get out of a big contract and acquire a higher pick, something like that, because they had the cap space, da 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 da. But how does that help Lillard? Lillard is what? He's in his mid-30s now, right? How many more years of Dame time is there?
Yeah. So,
3,
and
4?
he's like, it's gonna be tough. I like even in a scenario like that. What type of guy? Where do you see that? What guy is that? That a team is trying to get rid
Exactly.
of with a big contract that's going to really be
I mean, like
like I don't
the
I don't
Sixers,
see
let's
those
just
guys
use
out
us for example. Say we were trying to off Tobias's contract, right? And say Portland took it and we give them a first rounder in 2023. Well, all right, let's think about it. A first round pick from the Sixers in 2023 to take Tobias. Where do we think that pick's going to land up? They have Embiid, James Harden, and Maxey. So this pick's going to be in the low 20s to 25. It may even be 30. You know what I mean? So what did you gain for taking on Tobias Harris's
there. Yeah,
contract?
so
A
I'm like I don't
27th pick? It makes
yeah,
no
I don't
sense.
really see where this is going to help y'all. Like if you're look at OKC, like OKC is the number one place for that. They've stockpiled 1,000 picks. They take on bad contracts, but they still haven't cashed in on any of that. Like
But they,
you know,
but
but
it's so I don't have a
they got a
problem with
plan.
them doing it
Yeah, they got a
because
plan. Yeah,
SGA is 23, 24 years old.
exactly. And that's where I was going with it.
Dame's my age or a little older than me. I'm 32. Like
Yeah.
you can't say that you're going to do a process type rebuild around a 33-year-old.
Yeah, it's not. That's the problem. Dame is not the guy that you
And
do that rebuild with. You can't.
you can't. I'm gonna do this again. Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard. I beg of both of you, please stop the charade. Please, you guys are very loyal. We all respect it. You're strong black men that stood by your teams. Your team ain't standing by you no more. Get
Yeah,
out.
I've been saying this for 2 seasons. I've been saying this for two.
Get out.
But like, I think to be honest, like, no, all jokes aside, I do think Bill has had enough. I think that's why he got the wrist surgery. I think Bill is done. I think we might have seen the last of him as a Wizard. I think he shut it down this year, and I think in the offseason he's going to tell him he's not going to opt in, and they're going to be forced to trade him. I think
And
that's
I personally think he got the surgery now to be able to control where he goes in the off season.
yeah, yeah,
Because if he didn't get the surgery right now and he gave them a hint that he wasn't coming back, they could have traded him anywhere today.
yeah, exactly. That's why I think that this is all, and I more power to him. I think he's doing it the right way, like doing what he has to do. He has to do this at this point. There's no earthly way I can see him coming back to that team. Him,
None.
Porzingis,
Like there's
and
nothing
Kuzma,
there.
and then they're gonna do something. Like, what are y'all gonna do?
Like I want to say this. We're not slighting Kuzma because Kuzma, I respect you. You have made a leap in Washington. I've seen more from you in
Yeah.
Washington than I did with the
Now I was a
Lakers.
little worried about our Bill plans at the beginning of the season because they were balling
Yeah,
at the
because they
beginning of the
started
season.
off they start feeling like they could play a little bit. But I respect Kuzma's jump, and I think Kuzma probably could take another slight jump. But that's not him. Kristaps and Bill is. There's no way I can name 6 teams right now that there's no way those 3 are ever better than, even when they're all
Yeah,
healthy. Philly, Boston, Brooklyn, Chicago, Milwaukee, Cleveland.
Miami.
I didn't even say Miami, and they number 1.
Yeah,
Toronto.
yeah, yeah. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. The East is not it's not the same old East. Like
It's not the
it's
same
it's
old East. Nope.
it's wide open, but it's not wide open the way it used to be. It's wide open because there's a
Hmm.
lot of teams that could win it all. In
It's
Milwaukee,
the opposite. Yeah, it used to be it's wide open for anybody to make the playoffs. Now it's wide open for 4 or 5 teams to win
yeah,
the
the teams that are
conference.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, you don't know who's the
you
best team because there's a
yeah.
lot of really good teams.
There's no more LeBron Cavs or LeBron Heat running the whole conference.
Yeah,
It's kind of like last year. Last year, that's why the playoffs were so good. It was a wide open race last year in the East. Like
yeah,
anybody between the Bucks, the Nets, and the Sixers, we thought could win it out of those teams,
yeah.
right? Anybody, nobody would have been surprised
And
by
then out of
any of
nowhere,
those
here comes
teams
Atlanta.
in Atlanta. Yeah, they come out of nowhere, and
Yeah,
they, as the 5 seed, they make us run, but Boston's the one that not Boston. I'm sorry, uh, Milwaukee. The Bucks are the ones that
yeah,
succeed and they get to the championship and they win the championship. Like the East is open, and that's why I'm glad we went and got Harden because the way Embiid's playing right now, you
yeah.
cannot
No,
wait
y'all
to
got to be the
see.
favorites to me. Y'all got to be the favorites until the mask mandate changes and KD comes back healthy. Y'all are easily the favorites to me. And even then, I still would say
Milwaukee, I
I'll
give
put
Milwaukee their
Milwaukee
respect.
over. Yeah, I'll put
Yeah.
Milwaukee at the top to me. Y'all right
Mm-hmm.
under Milwaukee just because I haven't seen it
Mm-hmm.
yet. That's all I
Yeah,
can really say.
I agree with that.
Um,
I used to not give Milwaukee their respect. We all know that, but Milwaukee proved it last year, and they
yeah,
kind of
they're
have flown
champions.
under the yeah they've flown under the radar a little bit this year, but now they're starting to tick up.
Yeah,
So I think Chicago is a very good team. Milwaukee, we know, is a very good team. Brooklyn, we're going to see how they all come back together. We're going to see how Embiid and Harden gel. That right there is 4 teams already that anybody in that any fan believes could win that Eastern Conference without a doubt.
absolutely.
And that's not
Without
saying,
yeah.
and I've left out Miami.
And any one of those teams is gonna give Phoenix or Golden State a run for their money. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not the
Or
same old
Memphis.
Eastern Conference in Memphis. Dark horse. You gotta call Memphis
Mm-hmm.
a dark horse because they ain't do it yet. The other
No,
two
no,
did it
I
already.
just like Ja, man. I just think Ja,
No, I love them.
Ja,
I love Ja,
Ja
and
kind of
I
like on that
yeah.
Burrow thing, where the young guy, that the whole city just bought into him that it just something feels special right now.
I feel like Jaren Jackson Jr. is being so underrated though.
Oh yeah, he's a
Ja
player.
is because Ja is just amazing to watch. But
Mm-hmm.
I think Jaren Jackson is a big reason for what they're doing right now too. Because he really,
Oh yeah.
solidified that number 2 spot and kind of gave them a good 1-2 punch. And they're doing all this without Dylan Brooks to me. And Dylan Brooks is
And Dylan Brooks is a player. Yeah.
yeah, he's a
Desmond
really good
Bain.
player. Yeah,
Dylan Brooks he helps them on both sides of the floor too. And then
yeah.
Desmond Bain is taking that sophomore jump. Like, man, that I really like him. He does it on both ends. He's a big time shooter from 3. I respect Memphis. I think Memphis
Yeah.
is going to make a little bit of
No,
noise
I'm
out
I'm
there in the
I'm
West.
excited for them in the playoffs. I really am. Like, of course it's a whole half a season to go, but I'm really excited to see what Memphis does in the playoffs. But all right, so let's talk real quick about we got trade deadline that's out the way. Next weekend we got All-Star. Anything that really, stick out to you about All-Star you're looking forward to seeing? We just saw the teams get picked. Anything that really
I'm glad LaMelo got in, as I had saw him as a big time snub early on. I thought he should have been in from rip. I kind of, even though he's on my team now, I kind of did not think Harden deserved All-Star nod because of the amount of games missed. And I kind of questioned Chris Middleton's spot a little bit too. I think instead of him, I would have went with either Sabonis, Jaylen Brown. Uh, yeah, one of those two would have been my pick over Middleton. But it is what it is. I'm glad LaMelo. I love seeing Darius Garland get his respect because he made a big leap this year. DeJounte Murray getting that selection. I always like seeing the newer guys that get a chance and to see if they can continue to become multi-time All-Stars like we're now seeing with Trae Young. We know he broke in a couple years ago and now he's been in every year. Ja is now a starter. Ja went from an All-Star last year. He's now a starter this year. Uh, Andrew Wiggins, the whole redemption we've seen with him. He went from number one pick to people kind of calling him. I don't think people really see him as a bust, but they say he's a little underwhelming in Minnesota. He gets out of Minnesota, comes to Golden State in a great culture, and we're finally seeing him kind of reach the potential we thought he could be coming out of Kansas. So I'm proud to see that he got selected and he got selected as a starter. All-Star Weekend is always fun. We got the three-point contest is going to happen. We got some big guys that are in the three-point contest this year. We'll see what Cat can do. I'm looking forward to All-Star Weekend as a whole. Like I stopped and said it a little earlier, Durant can't draft, but it doesn't matter when the ball gets thrown out there. It'll still be fun to
Yeah, they're
watch.
gonna play. They're gonna ball up. So my thing, like I'm very similar to what you said. I really, really am happy to see a lot of the first time All-Stars. I'm excited for Darius Garland. I don't get to see a lot of Darius Garland. So I'm happy to see him. Like you said, first time starter, Ja is gonna be good to see him. Be on that stage where he needs to be, where I think he's earned a position to be in. Like you said, I think that because of the way the fan voting works, the fan voting really, it's like All Stars an individual award, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the fan voting leans towards names a lot more than
Mm-hmm.
actual, what's being done on the court. But then I think
Absolutely.
that the coaches, they overcompensate and go a little bit more towards team success than
Mm-hmm.
individuals. And I think that's where you see some of the snubs. So, while, Milwaukee definitely, deserves to have two All-Stars, I don't necessarily think Chris Middleton is having a better season than Jaylen Brown or Sabonis. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
or LaMelo Ball for that matter, who doesn't end up
Mm-hmm.
making it, but as a replacement, I think those
Mm-hmm.
guys are all having better seasons. So I think they should have, been selected. But
Yeah, I was extremely shocked that LaMelo didn't get on there of their first time. Oh, that really shocked me.
yeah, and that's what I said. Like they lean a little bit more towards team success with that. And then if you're looking at individual numbers, there's no way LaMelo Ball is not an All-Star.
Absolutely. And then
Devin Booker, like Devin
but if you
Booker,
look at their team too, like the Hornets are an improved team this year, and
yeah,
he's the main reason for that.
absolutely. Devin Booker was a snub because of name recognition. He should have been a starter. Obviously, he should have been a starter over Andrew Wiggins. But because Andrew Wiggins plays on Golden State,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and taking nothing
Uh,
away from Andrew Wiggins, I think Andrew
yeah,
Wiggins is an All-Star either way. But
I
I don't
think that's
necessarily know he's a starter.
positional too. You know what I mean? Like because Booker's considered a guard, whereas Wiggins is considered the forward. You know what I mean? I think that's where that kind
Yeah.
of hurt him
But you
some
can
because
go, three guards and
no,
you can
I
go
know
either
you can,
way.
but I'm saying I know you can. But I'm saying when you go into voting though, some
Yeah,
people are
I
just
got
gonna
you.
vote it
Yeah.
as a point guard,
Hmm.
shoot guard, forward. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
because of the names. That's what I'm saying. The name
because of the
recognition
name.
is
Yeah,
where you
exactly.
suffer a little bit. But like I said, all in all, I think they did a good job. I could definitely understand why some of the guys like Sabonis and Jaylen Brown didn't make it because the team success wasn't really there. Um, so I don't really have a problem with it. Um, I was happy that because Durant is obviously not going to be able to play, Tatum got named as a starter. Just because I feel like I don't know if he gets to do for the numbers he actually puts up. So it's like it's cool that he does get that opportunity to really stand on that stage. But um, I think all in all, Trae Young's another guy I think that really deserved to be a starter. But like I said, team success kind of hurt him there.
Mm.
It's tough. It's tough. Not everybody's going to get to be where they deserve to be in that situation.
Hey, I thought Trey was a starter.
Nah,
So who's the East? East is
if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty
Embiid.
sure so. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong.
Em-
I'm wrong. I'm wrong. He did. He was a starter. I'm sorry.
yeah, Trey's a starter. Yeah, 'cause it was Trey, DeRozan, Durant originally, but it's switched with Tatum, and then it's Embiid and who's the last one? Oh, I forget.
Shoot. You said DeRozan. That was the 3.
Oh my forgetting.
Who's the 2 guard?
After the the backcourt is Trey Young, DeRozan. It was Durant, but it's now Tatum. I know that
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
So it's the 4 that we missing. Because Embiid
Yeah,
is the
it's another
5.
court person that I'm blanking on.
Yeah, this is weird.
Because Levine didn't start. Levine's on the team, but Levine's not starting.
No, Levine didn't start. Oh, Giannis. We're bugging.
Giannis, exactly. Yeah,
We're bugging. We're
tripping.
bugging.
Easy.
Who should have been
Oh
the
yeah,
captain to me. I'm like, that's
yes.
another name recognition
And
thing.
that's
Giannis
the
should have been the
name
captain.
thing. Yeah, Durant ended up, and he probably would have drafted a better team. But
Yeah, it should have been Giannis, and it should have been Giannis last year too. Like it should be Giannis. I don't. It's just
well, I
I
think
guess he don't
it
got.
was Giannis last year. Remember, it
It
was
was. He
Durant
was.
and LeBron the first year. No,
Yes.
it was
Yes. Yes.
LeBron.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Giannis was last year.
Giannis was last year. It should be Giannis every year until further notice to me, because he's just.
He's the best player in the East. I mean, I kind of thought Embiid was gonna get it, but I was like, nah, he got the name recognition as much yet. But playing wise,
Yeah,
he's
he was
playing
right
on
there with
that
everybody.
level.
He's right there with
Yeah.
anybody.
But yeah,
So
man.
yeah, like I said, All Stars gonna be fun. It's always fun. I don't know about the regular All Star festivities with it being in Cleveland. I don't know if a lot of people run into Cleveland for All Star Weekend, but we'll see. All the extracurriculars, I don't know how much Cleveland got to offer.
Yeah, nah, I don't know, but TV wise, game wise, 3-point contest, dunk.
Yeah, I'm
They're
excited.
doing a new thing with the rookie sophomore game. Like I'm excited to see all that stuff. I'm glad Maxey, he got snubbed last year from that game, but he's in there this year. So
hmm
it's coming right around the corner. And then after that, you know what time it is. It's the stretch run
Yeah, I
after
love
that.
it. This is my favorite time because it's like you get All Stars, a cool time celebration. After that, it's time to get serious. It's time to get locked in, and I'm excited for the second half of the season. I'm excited to see where personally I'm excited to see where my Celtics can take it. We've been on a roll up to All Star. We got a couple tough games this week. Hopefully we can hold it down. I'm excited to see what the Sixers look like. I know I got a few Sixers fans. We in the chat, and y'all always try to get on me because y'all think it's a rivalry there. It's really I don't see it that way. Like I honestly don't. Maybe it's because I'm a Celtics fan that lives in South Jersey. I'm close to Philly. I've always had a affinity for the Sixers. Like I was an Iverson fan. Like I always like the Sixers, and I want to see y'all do well. Like just not when y'all play us. That's it. Like
No, I think it's
I'm
definitely some of because of where you're from. Because I don't see him as a rival as like Eagles Cowboys or Eagles Giants, something like
yeah,
that.
that's different. That's different.
But I do think like NBA wise, that's our biggest rival is the Celtics. Like other like the Knicks, I don't really whatever. But the Celtics is the team where basketball, when I think of the Sixers' main rival basketball wise, it is Boston. Like when we played each other in the playoffs a couple years ago, it was big, it was hype. You know what I mean? Like that was a big series. Like that was talked about a lot. And I'm telling you, like Sixers fans, that hurt. Like getting our ass kicked 4-1 by y'all, that we were hurt by that. Like so, it's a rivalry. It's not a.
Yeah.
I don't think basketball at all has that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, and I said this to y'all when we had the conversation. I have a rivalry, personally, me as a Celtics fan, with the Lakers because, and it's a unique rivalry because of the simple fact we have 17 championships, they have 17 championships. There's nobody else on that level as far as championships. So it's like I can't really rival anybody else with champions. It's only them. I don't want them to get 18. Like I'll do anything for them not to get 18. Like, and I'll do anything for us to get 18. Now, on a game-to-game basis, I want to beat all y'all. But outside of a game-to-game basis, it's the Lakers. I'm always looking at them. I want to, like, the fact that they're, in turmoil right now makes me feel good. Because I know I don't have to worry about them getting 18. Whereas even in the NFL, like, as a Cowboys fan, we got 5. So that, obviously, anybody above 5, I'm looking at a different type of way than anybody else. Like, but but it's different in the NFL because it's more physical. I guess you got real rivalries like us with to me anybody in the NFC East. It's a
Mm.
different type of a feeling. So it's like with the NBA, it's not like that to me. But
Not just
and
not like it hasn't been that way in a while. I think it's because of the players that are too friendly now.
yeah, but like I'm like I said, second half of the season, I'm looking forward to see what y'all gonna do. It's gonna be very interesting what goes on in Brooklyn. Obviously the Warriors, once they get Draymond back, whenever that does happen,
Mm-hmm.
um, can Phoenix continue what they're doing, or the Bucks gonna be, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of storylines. NBA, you gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yep. I want to see when is James Wiseman gonna come back? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not just James Wiseman. Does anybody even know where Zion is? Zion Williamson a
Zion
lot.
at the
Like
he he
Buffet?
had Zaxby's. He had Zaxby's
Yeah.
right now. He got the number 5, and he's just going ham.
Double
He has Zaxby's.
lemonade.
Yep. He over there. He going ham. No ice in his lemonade. No ice. No, I put no ice in your
Like
lemonade.
crazy. Like, dude, just John Morant is becoming an all NBA type of player, right?
Yeah.
Zion is 400 pounds. But this is not a case where we all know Zion can play. He's a good player. It's not a bust of a pick at all because he's talented. But
Yeah.
when is he coming back?
I
Or is
think
this a
that
ploy to get out?
no, and I think that it's two. I think it was a ploy to either A, y'all make a move, or B, I'm out. And I think that they made the move with getting CJ McCollum. So we're now
Hmm.
it's on all eyes on Zion now. Like, are you gonna come back? What are you gonna look like when you come back? Like because we got you a player, we got you, a star type player offensively. You got when you got McCollum, you got Ingram, you got Zion, you got something. You got something.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what you're gonna do. So I think now the ball's in his court, literally.
Well, look, it's in his court for sure. It's just crazy that like you don't even see him. He doesn't do any interviews. He's barely on the sideline. Like it's crazy. It really feels like he's missing.
They don't be having the catering right. Catering don't be. That's the thing. I feel like New Orleans was the worst place for him to go for his for his
Right.
his particular situation. Like he went to one
Whoa.
of the
No,
best
no
cities in the
jambalaya.
world. It's like, how you
Yo,
gonna get him out of New Orleans? Like, how you gonna get him off of
you already
like,
knew he had like he was already fluctuating with the weight
yeah,
going to a place like that. Man, but we all know like it's already been rumbles that they don't want him there. They never wanted him there. So a
mm-hmm.
lot of this could be just a ploy to get New
Get him
Orleans
out.
to get him out of there. But I know New Orleans fans are like may wish they picked John Morant because
Yeah,
Ja was going
who
to go
wouldn't?
ball and play anywhere. It didn't matter the
Yeah,
situation. He's been playing great. He's on the court day in and day out. Poor
he has something to
Pelicans.
prove. See, the difference between Ja and Zion is Ja had something to prove. Zion, he was pretty much crowned before he ever got it. And to his credit, he's backed it up when we've seen him play. He's been a great player.
Mm-hmm.
But Ja, even when Ja was playing well, he still had doubters. So like up until this season and now it's like when you can't really, what can you say about Ja at this point?
Nada. Sounds silly if you doubt him.
Yeah, you can't. So I think that's just the different difference between those two. But I think at this point now, Zion does have to show face. He got to show that he's made, because I mean, New Orleans has publicly kind of cleaned their image up with this. To me,
Mm-hmm.
with this trade, they went and got him help. So like we did what we had to do. So
And they
now
ain't have to
Zion's
give
going
up
to,
much either.
yeah, they did a good job with getting that. To me, they did a good job with getting McCollum, and I think McCollum is a player that can like ideally play very well with Zion. But we gonna see
Yep.
if he,
Time will tell if he even comes back this year. I don't expect him to play at all this year.
which
Really
would be
don't.
crazy. If he doesn't play it all this year, that's crazy.
Yeah, I fully expect him not to play it all this season.
Because that's like Kawhi like, where we
Yeah,
probably
another
don't
guy
see.
not playing this year now.
Yeah, we probably
And
don't see
Kawhi's
Kawhi.
kind of mind blowing to me too that they don't even talk about what's his injury. What's Kawhi's
I
injury?
mean, yeah, it was an ACL for everything I knew, but um, I mean the ACL recovery is roughly he's still within the window, I guess, but it's
When
like
did he
there's
tear
no
his
timetable.
ACL?
I, hey, bro,
Thank you, thank
I
you.
ain't no
When?
doctor.
How? When did he tear his ACL? Last time we saw them play basketball, he did have the knee injury in the playoffs. Cool. But it never was reported of an ACL. Then we fast forward, and it's an ACL, and now he's out for a season.
Man, hey
I
man,
have no clue, bro. But yeah,
I,
I think we got it all. We got some good trades. Harden to
exciting, man.
Philly. Yep, White to the Celtics. I like them. I mean, I like Derek White move for the Celtics. We're gonna see about this Dinwiddie thing. Uh, what else happened? It's been a whirlwind day in the NBA. Next up,
Yeah,
All-Star game, and then we got the down stretch, and then the playoffs will be here before we know it.
yeah, play, and it's like this is like the refresher, the palate cleanser, and it's like it's so much different, so much new. If you was ever getting bored with the way the league was, it's enough change where it's like almost a whole new league now for you to
Mm-hmm.
get into for the second half. So with that being said, we'll get out of here. Like I said, it was good talk. We'll be back talking a lot more NBA. Um, Next time, you guys catch us, make sure to join in on the conversation. We are all on social media, Twitter, Instagram, at About That Sports Life, YouTube and Facebook, about that at About That Sports Life. Email info at aboutthatsportslife.com. Any questions, topics, comments you got, and definitely check out our site www.aboutthatsportslife.com for all of our replays and any information about the show.
Peace.
All right, bro.